Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Wieland, the host of the WB Download, and I want to invite you and welcome you to our podcast. My brother and I own and operate Wieland Builders. It's a custom home building company here in Southwest Ohio. The WB Download mostly focuses on interviewing folks associated with custom building. We stray now and then to interview people who I think are interesting and to break up the monotony of the same old podcast. I also like to highlight things that are going on in my everyday life along with our businesses. I started this podcast to help people understand the custom builder world, but to also give people a chance to hear what others have to say and highlight their expertise and experiences in life. We drop on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month with a new topic and or guest each time. I hope you join us here on the WB Download and enjoy listening and hearing stories of people in and out of the custom builder world. Welcome to the WB Download. Well, hello again, everybody. I'm Jeff Wieland with Wieland Builders here on the WB Download. I am the host of the WB Download. Believe it or not, somebody let me do this. As the dude said in the intro, that it's the second Tuesday of the month, or the last second and fourth Tuesday. Good Lord, I screwed that up. It's the fourth Tuesday of the month. Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Man, time is flying by. I just can't believe how fast everything goes all the time. Although we had a break of spring weather there for a second, then broke back into, last Wednesday, wake up, it's 14 degrees, and last Monday and Tuesday, it's snowing. Windstorms, crazy tornadoes all over the place. And so, man, it's just up and down. I don't know if I'd like to live somewhere where it was just consistently warm and nice weather all the time. Every once in a while you get a little rain. That would be so boring. But nonetheless, we're still working. And I don't know. I get a kick out of it. I think I might have said this the last time, but I was walking across the barnyard from one shop to the other barn, and it's wind blowing 40, 50 mile an hour, snow coming at me in March. And I don't know. I think it's funny that, hey, I got to be out here and doing this stuff. And I think it makes you tougher. I think it just gives you a different edge to you because you're out in the elements all the time. And so it is what it is. So anyway, we celebrated my daughter Raina's birthday. She turned 12, and in my house, you get a phone when you're 12. So like I said the last time, she was getting a phone. She got it. She's super excited. And now she has yet another device to play on. Maya, my brother's youngest daughter, she turned 16, and I think I've got that right, man. I'm going to get killed if I didn't. 16 years old, and she might be 16. We celebrated her birthday, and then the other big thing that's happening here is that me and the kids were in Columbus this last weekend for the Ohio Beef Expo, and this is our last show that we're going to go to before we head to the county fair. We're going to go to, actually I shouldn't say that, we're going to go to one or two more shows right when our county fair is coming up, just to get us in tune with what's going on. But it's been a fun show season. This is the first time we hit the circuit a little bit, not as much as most. And it's been fun getting out there and doing these things, getting to catch up with people that I've known for a long time, meeting a bunch of new people, and just spending time with the kids on the road, staying in hotels, I just can't get over how much they make me laugh and how hard they work. So it's really good. It's good for me. I hope it's good for them. I hope they enjoy it. I think that they do. Homerama is still kicking along. Our homeowners were away for a while, which is something we deal with quite a bit. But they are back in town, so they've been able to see the house and the progress, and that's kind of cool. We are grateful that we have super awesome people to work with this year, as always. But I enjoy this relationship and enjoy getting to know them and building their house. So it's fun because they are into it and they're super excited, which is the passion that we always talk about, what we're looking for with our customers, and they certainly have it. So we just got that thing under roof last week. We were rolling through mechanics and starting in mechanics, and we're doing a couple other things. We do our liquid applied air barrier on the exterior, setting windows, and just trying to get some outside stuff going. We have got to push on this schedule every day because Homerama does not move the date, and we're less than 170 days away from the show opening, and we got to keep on moving. So exciting progress, though, and this house is so cool. When me and the owners were in there the other day, I was talking to them about every where you look in that house, there's a different aspect that is so cool. It's got a different view. You can come around the corner, and the stairs are huge, wide open, but they're kind of tucked back down a hallway. When you look back towards the great room steps up, taller ceilings, beautiful view out the back. Same thing when you're in the master bedroom, huge ceilings with these great big windows. Every single time you turn around in that house, there's something cool going on there, and I'm excited to be able to finish it up. So for everybody to see, this is the cool part about Homerama, is that we build a lot of houses. You guys get to see pictures of them. But this house, you're going to see plenty of pictures of it. But we invite you to come out and walk through it and tour it and hang out and talk about building with us. That's really a cool part of it. Get to meet our owners, talk to them, and to get to meet our team. So that's what I love about Homerama, and we're going to keep on giving you updates about it. So the other thing that's happening this week is the Cincinnati Reds opening day parade. And our theme this year is When Life Gives You Lemonade. We are doing this in conjunction with Peyton's Lemonade Stand. Peyton's no stranger to the WB Download. We had her and her mom on last year, and Peyton was 8 years old, I believe, when she started her first lemonade stand. And this past year, when it was time to do the single lemonade stand day that year for Peyton's Lemonade, they raised, I believe it was over $150,000. And, the majority of the reason why they started this and what they do is they are helping kids be more comfortable in Children's Hospital. They've expanded. They've done a bunch of other things, but I was just in awe of Peyton and her spirit and her drive. And so we've stayed in touch with them. And this year I thought, man, we struggle all the time with this theme for the float. How do we make it something cool? And by gosh, that's what we did here with Peyton's Lemonade. So, our float is, it's the road, and it's got grass on the side of the roads, and we've got a couple lemonade stands that we are putting up there, and it's leading up to the entrance of the ballpark of Great American Ballpark. And we've got a statue of Pete Rose sliding out there in the middle of the road. We've got a picnic table sitting there so people can sit on it. And the lemonade stands are going to be looking like they're selling lemonade. And we've got lemon trees. And I just super excited to be able to do this with them guys. Hopefully it promotes them. Hopefully people gets the word out for what Peyton's doing over there. And we're going to have a good time. We have a good time with the parade every year. 150,000 people that usually go to the parade down there in Cincinnati. Should be a holiday like we talk about every year, but it's not. But it should be. And there's millions of people who see it on TV, and so we do it because I was at a breakfast one time with Bob Castellini, the owner of the Reds. Previous owner of the Reds, and he said, "Hey, if you're going to get involved in the city of Cincinnati, or if you're going to be in business around the city of Cincinnati," and I'm not in business in the city of Cincinnati, just make that clear. But we are in Southwest Ohio. You should be involved in a zoo, and you should be involved in the Reds. And this breakfast was at the Cincinnati Zoo. And then, we took it from there. And my dad and I were talking on the way back from Talladega Raceway. And we were both started talking about the opening day parade, and we got a lot of history there. My grandmother his mom was a Rosie Red. My grandfather, her husband, played for the Reds way long time ago. And my dad's always had this love for baseball. So we said, hey, I wonder what it takes to get a float in that parade. And by gosh, 11, 12, 14 years ago, we built our first float, entered it in the parade, got accepted, and we've been doing it ever since. We had to take a couple years off because of COVID. A couple years, it always conflicts with spring break, houses closing. My Builder 20 group, when I was in that, it conflicted with that trip a couple times. So I think we took 1 or 2 years off because of those different reasons. But other than that, we've been in it full blow. We've won first place multiple times, which is crazy. We're building this on the back of one of our trailers out of scrap material. And there are actually professional float builders that are entered into the parade. And we've won a second and we've won a third. But most of all, it's another time for me and the kids to put this thing together. Shannon is down there helping. She's come up with creative ideas. Just last weekend, she was sewing curtains to put on top of the lemonade stand. We're down there painting on it all the time. Then, some of the guys come up and help us from the company, but it's a day for the company. Hopefully the employees, they're bringing their kids, which they've always done in the past, and we're just kind of hanging out for the day, breaking that spring weather in with the opening day. So opening day, Cincinnati, it should be a holiday. So that's what we've got going on around here. Hey, today our podcast is going to be about spring cleaning, spring maintenance, and we're going to take a break from the interviews, even though we've got a bunch of awesome ones lined up here. So I just wanted to talk to you about this. I am a fan of signing up for maintenance contracts, and I think a lot of people are not because they feel like they're going to get taken. They feel like that people are going to come out and make them do things and pay for things that they don't necessarily need. As a builder, a lot of my people that we work with will offer this to you, and they are the people who installed it, which means that if they're coming to you going, hey, this is junk, they're the idiots that put it in, so they're not going to say that. So I would suggest that if you have a new home built and the people who worked on it offer maintenance contracts, I would take them up on it. And this is appliances, this is garage doors, this is heating and air conditioning, it's plumbing, it's all of these things. And you need to maintain your house, your home. You need to take care of it more so than just cutting the grass. I mean, there's so many crazy things that you need to do, and it's not all the time, but you need, and it's not even that you have to do something all the time, but at least you have to inspect it, check it out. Don't have something falling apart and go, that was a piece of crap, when you're the one that was responsible for checking it out to begin with and making sure that it wasn't a problem. If it was beginning to be a problem, then you could have maintained it, you could have taken care of it. So number one, on the outside of the house, we talked, we're going to talk about this, with our, as we go through CertainTeed and our roofing company, you got to check your roof. You got to check your gutters. Anytime I've ever gone out on an inspection for other builders or for other people, and talked about, if they had an issue with some kind of water leak or something like that, the first thing I did, was go up and look at the roof and look at the gutters. Are the downspouts correctly draining away from the house? Do you have positive drainage away from your foundation? We've had a long, hard winter around here. There's so much stuff that could go on with that house, and especially in Ohio, when you go from 70 degrees on a Sunday and 11 degrees on Monday night, there's so much different change that can happen to that house, to the outside of it. I just feel like your house is sitting there just, like Mike Tyson, man. I mean, not like Mike Tyson. Somebody who would take jabs. I don't know who that was. Mike Tyson was giving them, not taking them. But your house is just getting beat up all the time. So go out there and look, and just you don't have to get up on the roof. Get a pair of binoculars. Stay back far enough to where you can look around up there. Is there buildup in the valleys? Is there shingles that are popping up? Is there shingles that may have blown off? Is there stuff that you can see literally sticking out of the gutters if you don't have gutter guards, which I would highly recommend getting gutter guards, so you don't have to get up on a ladder and clean your gutters out. Just look around that thing. Look for something that might be sagging on the gutter. Look at the soffits in those areas. Look at your siding. Look at your the paint. If you have any painted areas, stained areas on the outside, will those need attention this year? Look at the sealant going around the windows. We call them exterior penetrations, which is pipes that are sticking out, gas lines that are sticking out, electric lines that are sticking out, outlets on the outside. Are those things sealed up around there, not only for weather, but for bugs, for bees? And we've got in East Ohio, we've got these bumblebees who the only sole purpose of a bumblebee in its life is to be an asshole. And so if a bumblebee is going to do something, it's going to dig into your wood species on the outside of your house, and it's going to tear it up. So you got to make sure you're watching that. And that's the God's honest truth. They're not going to hurt you. If you go out there, they're just like, hey, get out of my way. I'm trying to tear your house up. Check your windows, check your screens. If the screens blew out, if they have holes in them, things like that. Just making sure that outside is sealed up tight. On your concrete, on the outside, on your flat work, on your foundation, check the inside, check the outside that you can see, and just see if it's got any cracks. If it does, you have to call somebody, or you have to seal it up yourself. Make sure that it's sealed up, because it's probably going to crack, but you want to make sure it's sealed up and that you have that covered. Same thing with your flat work. If it cracks, let's hope that it cracks in one of the joints that we put there purposely. If it didn't and it jumped out of that joint, just keep an eye on it. I mean, if it's big and it's really separating, in height, and it's separating apart in width, and it's getting big, that's a problem. But if it's a hairline crack, it's the pain in the butt of concrete, and that's what happens. The price goes up, it gets hard, and it's going to crack. I had one guy that we used to work with used to tell me he would warrant his concrete from fire and theft, and that's all he did. That's what concrete does. So you check out your landscaping. This is always a big thing because a lot of people mulch every single year. You need to make sure that mulch is not creeping up above the foundation level. Don't let the mulch get up on the brick or the siding. Don't let it go up above where it could water or snow seep back into the foundation. Technically, you should be about 6 inches from the top of the foundation down to where the grade starts, and that grade is mulch or grass. Check that stuff out. See, and really, this is where I think most people think spring cleaning, and then they think maintenance on the outside. They're going to get out, they're going to edge their beds, they're going to mulch, weed, put some preen down, and they're going to start, treating their yard and mowing their grass, and they're done. That's all good stuff because that's pretty stuff, makes it look really good. But you got to do things to the house itself and just be checking those things out, making sure you're going around landscaping. That positive drainage is a big thing because it could be 10 years later in an over dig. When we dig the basement, we dig it 3 feet wider than what the wall is because we have to get down there and work. We have to have drainage areas. Sometimes it takes that long for water lines to settle and for utility lines to settle and for over digs to settle. Keep an eye on them. Not that anybody did anything wrong with it or anything like that. It just took that long to get there. So you're going to want to fill that in and make sure that when I say positive drainage, it's if you're looking at it from a side view, that angle is coming from the foundation on a downward slope away from the foundation. Do not let it lay there. So if you go inside and start thinking about it, one other thing I'll tell you is I do this a lot at the farm, and I do it in the summertime. But go through in the summertime when when the leaves are all on the trees, and if you've got some woods or you've got something going on with some trees. And there's no leaves on it in the summertime, it's probably dead. You could mark it. And then come back later on in the winter when you can get in there a little bit easier without getting attacked by the brush, cut the tree down. So you can mark those. You can look and see, hey, does this tree grow more than what I thought it was going to? Is it getting into the house? Is it getting into the gutters? Is it affecting my house more so than just looking pretty? Do I need to trim it back? Don't be afraid to whack that thing down and make sure it's getting away from the house. So go inside. Let's talk about the heating and air conditioning system. You should be checking your filters every month and probably changing them once a month. And you can look at this and see how you're going through them and what's happening. On your humidifier, make sure that as the weather turns to warmer weather, you go downstairs and flip from winter to summer and do the same thing in the fall when it starts getting cold in November to late November, December. Switch it from summer to winter. This changes the amount of moisture and humidity that's in your air. It's indoor air quality, and that is so important for your inside trim, for your health, for your skin, for your floors, all of that stuff. It's really, really important to make sure that you pay attention to that. And your humidistat, we want to keep that humidistat around 30 to 35%. And so be checking on that too. So your heating and air conditioning system, you think about how many times that thing shuts on or shuts off and turns on in a single day, in an hour. Think about that. Same thing with your sump pump. How many times does that thing kick on, especially when you get more of these soggier months and that water seems to be, seeping down or rising up through the soil? Just check these things out because your furnace could kick on and off, 100 times a day. Same thing with the sump pump. Mine right now, where we're at, every time coming out of January and probably all the way through May, that thing runs every 15 seconds. It just goes and goes and goes. Never could figure out why. And then it won't run at all. It won't run at all after that. It's so crazy. But the heating and air conditioning is super important. Just going through cleaning vents and returns, making sure that your cold air returns, they have the tendency to be something that people don't care about, and they get cobwebs and all kinds of stuff all over them. That's the air that's sucking through your system and being blown out into the house. Don't be afraid to have that maintenance contract where these guys are coming out and checking it out. Look at the outside units. excuse me, look at the outside units on your air conditioners and on your heat pumps. They got to be pressure washed. They had to be cleaned up on the outside of them, and making sure that there's not a bunch of debris and nasty stuff and bushes growing over them and weeds and all kinds of, because it'll choke that system down and it'll screw it up. So you got to make sure that that stuff is out there. Same thing in the wintertime. Didn't know this, but a long time ago, somebody told me about, in the snowstorm in the 70s, a lot of people had heat pumps back then. And when that snow builds up around those units, it can't breathe, it can't operate, and it was shutting the heat down in people's houses, and they were dying. So it's the same thing now. You got to make sure it's cleaned out around there. Maybe not snow, but any kind of debris. Your plumbing, you got to go through. Just look underneath your sink. Just check and see. Maybe is the trap leaking? Did something come loose? What is something just changed underneath there? Is there something that's going on underneath for the faucet? Check your hose spigots. Make sure, God forbid, that you didn't leave a hose hooked up over the winter and now that thing froze back in there and it's busted and it's going to leak all over the place when you turn that thing on. It's going to be a mess. Test your water pressure. Look at that. Is it, check out your water meter. Most of them have a little diamond dial on them. And if there's no water turned on in your house and that thing's spinning, you got a problem. You got to call somebody to get it checked out. So just make sure you're checking out your water heater, going down there, making sure that, who knows how, this is not something you need to do very often, but this is something where a plumber would come into play at, is if the, anode rods or something like that needs to be adjusted in there, or something needs to be changed. That's really important that you keep an eye on that. Making sure that it's still putting out plenty of heat, and again, checking for leaks and those kind of things. Check out your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. If you have an older house that doesn't have a carbon monoxide detector in there, go buy one, put one in there. It's really important. It's so difficult to capture those kind of things, so just make sure that and carbon monoxide detectors and propane detectors. Propane is a different gas than natural gas. So you need, if you're going to get a detector, you need something that picks up propane if you have propane, and natural gas if you have natural gas. Replace the batteries in the smoke detectors. Got to do this at least once a year. Hopefully you got some fire extinguishers around your house. I know it sounds corny, but it is the cheapest, best investment you'll ever make for what you could do with those things. We've got them in the barns. We've got a couple of them in our house, and it's just like insurance. It's just there just in case. Do some cleaning, man. Clean that place up. And I think this is crazy. That if we've got a dog and he sheds. And he sheds about 9,000 wool blankets a year because he's great big. But it gets everywhere. And then a couple months ago, we were doing something in the family room and lifted up one of the couches and looked under there, and we just about had a heart attack. So we had to clean up underneath there. And I think the same thing, if you can get underneath your refrigerator or pull your refrigerator out, because that's where a lot of that ventilation sucks in and goes out, is underneath your refrigerator. Clean that out. Get underneath your sink, get in your cabinets. I just from my own experience, from when we put our pots and pan or our pans away in that vertical cabinet, a lot of stuff falls down in there. Same thing with my toaster. I got to take the little things out on the bottom. Shannon and I do this. I'm not taking credit for it by any means. I'm just telling you that this is what happens. You got to clean those things out. Your trash can drawer. If you have a trash can cabinet, something I've realized is that that inside part of it gets pretty nasty, and you got to take the cans out. It works just like a drawer. Flip the little clicks there, click the little flips or whatever you want to call it, and pull the thing out, pull the rack out, and clean that bad boy in there. It gets pretty rough. At our house, it does anyway. And just going through wiping baseboards, because I'd say all this because I know it's spring cleaning and Jeff doesn't need to tell me to clean my house, but the dust and all the things underneath your bed, underneath your furniture and different places, that stuff gets sucked up into that heating and air conditioning equipment, and then you're going through more filters, and it ruins the indoor air quality of your house, and that's a big change. So that's why we were talking about cleaning those things, cleaning your carpets, cleaning the baseboards, cleaning the walls. Oddly enough, that's something that Nana used to do, cleaning the walls, but hey, don't be afraid to wipe those things down. Cleaning those fans off. If you didn't have a fireplace going and your fan was going, make sure you clean those blades off in there. Something else that happens to us outside is birds' nest. And I'm not a fan of birds. I don't mind them, but I just can't stand them because they poop all over everything and they just build nests everywhere that I don't want them to. You got to be careful of where these nests get built at, and they're just like some people I know, they'll tear up everything that they come in touch with. So making sure that you do that. Clean out those refrigerator coils. In your dishwasher. I said this last year, talking about maintenance. In the bottom of your dishwasher, in the center of it, it's got a knob in there that's a drain, that's a filter. You have to go in there, pull the bottom tray out, spin that knob, take that thing out, and rinse it out. Sometimes there's two. There might be one up in the upper left-hand corner, and there's one in the center. It's disgusting. Put some rubber gloves on. Take that thing out, clean it out, make sure that dishwasher is operating at its full potential. And any other appliances, if you can get underneath that stove, that range, ice maker, whatever you got, make sure that that's all clean underneath there, because that's how that filter, that a lot of those things, the air gap around all of those things is where it's the motor in the back of it is pulling the air through, and anything that's pulling air through, air's dirty, man. You got to make sure that it gets cleaned out. So you got to, and if it's not, then it's gonna bring dust and dirt with it. A couple other things on your dryer vent. Don't be afraid to call one of them vent cleaner guys, because you can kind of do it depending on how long your run is, but it's so helpful to make sure that thing is cleaned out, because that's a leading cause of fires in houses. And then the other thing is and I probably. You got to do it sometime before the next burning season, but clean your chimney. Just get a fireplace chimney sweep company in there and clean the thing out, whether you think you need it or not. It's super. If you have a wood burner, if you have a gas, don't worry about it. But if you have a wood burning unit, make sure that thing's clean. If you have a outdoor sprinkler system, hopefully you don't have the burden of an indoor sprinkler system. But if you have an outdoor sprinkler system, you're probably going to have somebody come out and fire that thing up. Put the backflow device on there, and you got to go around to each head, make sure it's setting correctly and it's not leaking. The water's leaking out of it. And just make sure that the cycles are running through there. Adjust your cycle times. The longer that sprinkler system has been in place and you've got established lawn and established bushes, the less you have to run it than you did when you first moved in. So make sure that those things are in the right spot. The deck, patio, even if you have a composite Trex deck or a TimberTech deck, you still got to pressure wash it and still got to clean it to keep it looking good, because it's an outside product. When I was on my animal science internship in Lower Missouri down there back when I was in college, they had miles of PVC fence. And thank God we got a PVC fence so we don't have to paint it. But sure enough, I had to go around with buckets because we didn't have pressure washers out there in the middle of nowhere, and I had to scrub every piece of that. Add brown recluse spiders and copperheads and chiggers. And so that's a pretty tough job to be scrubbing fence that you never had to do any maintenance to. But it's the same thing with decks, and you got to make sure you clean them all the time. And again, checking out all your flat work, that exterior flat work concrete needs to be sealed once, if not twice a year. You can get your sealer at Small Stuff Supply up in Dayton. You can get your sealer from Janelle down here in Blue Ash, depending on where you're at and how far you want to drive. I'd be willing to bet that those guys at Small Stuff would probably deliver it for you. And just tell them what you need to do, what kind of concrete you got, and what you're looking to do for it. Are you just looking to do daily maintenance? They're going to sell you a bucket of whatever you need. They're going to ask you how many square feet you have of it. And then if you have stamped concrete or colored concrete, they're going to sell you a different kind, and you're probably going to need multiple buckets of it. Roll it on. You can spray it on, but it's probably going to be more inconsistent. If you have things that you do not want to get sealer on, and you probably don't want to be spraying it over there. So I get a big 18-inch roller specifically for the sealer, the big 18-inch pail, and then seal all that concrete up really good. Pressure washing and just doing all those fun things, if you're a dude, you like to get out there and if in general, if you just like to mess around with tools, now's the time to do it. So I know that's just a couple of things, that's not anything groundbreaking, but it's a reminder. And when I was talking about garage doors, you call AE Door and Window, they have a full service company. And you don't realize, again, how many times does that garage door opener go up and down? You have a huge torsion spring on there. You have a bunch of different wheels that go along with the door. Your opener constantly running. It needs some attention. And so don't be afraid to call those guys once a year and have them come out. If anything else that comes out of this, when you buy a new appliance, they'll put in the packet, hey, fill this information out and send it back to us. Nobody wants to do that because they don't want to get phone calls, whatever. But it's important that they have your information, your address, your phone number, everything that you need. And then when you call there, they already know who you are. They've got all your information on file, and you're scheduling service with them. It's the same thing with the garage door, same thing with the heating and air conditioning, same thing with so many of these things. Hey, if it doesn't work out, don't do it or switch companies. But I cannot tell you how important it is to maintain your home. Even if you bought a brand new home, don't buy a brand new home and go, I don't need to do anything with it. You buy a brand new home and it's the same maintenance as you had with a 30-year-old home. You still got to do stuff to it. And the builder's not responsible for coming out and doing that maintenance for you, believe it or not. So that's the good stuff. That's the fun stuff, fun little podcast here. I hope that my friend Dan Geis out there in Golden, Colorado doesn't think I'm phoning this one in. But I've been in conversations with those cats. My friend Don Weiler from Bloomington, Indiana, Adam Helke from Iowa, and Dan Geis from Golden, Colorado, all have been on this show before. And we are getting ready to do a show where we have all four of us on the podcast at the same time, talking about a number of different topics. And it's going to be comedic, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be informative to listen to four people from different parts of the country on how we build and different things we run across. So that I'm looking forward to that. But our next podcast, I believe, is going to be the guys from Pella Windows checking in with us and just getting caught up. Nathan was on there 2 years ago, I think. So we bring Nathan and Brett. Brett is the single greatest Pella salesman in the history of mankind. And we bring him in here, and we're going to talk to him about what makes it great and what's happening with Pella Windows. So I believe that's our next podcast. I hope it is, because I just talked a whole lot about it. And so anyway, thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, I hope you tune in to the parade on Thursday of this week. And get to see us on TV, and I take a lot of pride in it because it's pretty cool to do this stuff and be in front of all those people and just have a good day with our family and our company. And Cincinnati Reds opening day parade Thursday the 26th, and don't forget to subscribe to the WB Download on your favorite podcast service. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, and make sure that you subscribe to it. Don't just like us. And don't forget, we drop on the second and fourth Tuesdays. So the next time we drop will be the second Tuesday of April. Man, it's April already, and soon be coming up on Easter, and then we're rolling into hot weather, I hope soon. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, and I'm always begging people at our breakfast the last time, and whatever we got to do, I'm always telling people, hey, you want to talk? Let's get on here. Let's talk about it. After Brian Kramer's episode, his main service guy, Barry, said, me and Brian are coming back on, and we're going to get back on, and we're going to talk about plumbing again. I invite him to do that. Let's do it, because that's what this podcast is for, is to listen to goofy stories and learn things along the way. So, and don't forget to check us out at WB Download, WielandBuilders.com. And if you want to reach out to me, email me at WBDownload@WielandBuilders.com. I'm going to jump off of here. Everybody, happy opening day week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff Wieland here on the WB Download.